All right, everyone. Imagine you're stepping onto a boat for the first time. Maybe it's a little fishing boat. Maybe it's a big ship. But either way, there are some weird and wonderful words you've got to learn if you don't want to look completely clueless out there. Let's start with the front of the boat. That sharp edge leading the way is the bow. The back of the boat, that's the stern. Easy way to remember. S for stern. S for see you later. The left side of the boat is the port side. A lot of people say it's because port and left both have 4 letters, and that does help you remember. But here's the real reason. Back in the old days, ships had a huge steering oar, kind of like a paddle, that stuck out on the right side of the boat. That meant the left side had to face the dock, so they could load and unload cargo without snapping off the steering oar. That docking side became known as the port side, because it was the side that faced the port. Pretty clever, right? And that big steering oar on the right? That's why the right side is called starboard, from an old word that basically means steering side. Moving on, the floor is called the deck. And if you go below that, into the lower part of the ship, that's called the hull. That's the body of the boat, the part that keeps the water out and the people in. Now, if you're standing on the deck and you see stairs going down into the inside of the ship, that's called a companionway. It's just a fancy word for the stairway or ladder that connects the deck to the lower levels. If someone says, head down the companionway, that means go below deck, probably into a cabin or maybe the galley. Speaking of below deck, if you go inside the boat and see a wall, you might want to call it a wall, but nope. On a ship, it's called a bulkhead. A bulkhead separates different parts of the ship, like walls in a house. But they're more than just walls. They help keep the ship from sinking. If water leaks into one part of the boat, the bulkhead can seal it off and keep the rest of the ship safe. Now, the rooms on a ship aren't called rooms, they're cabins. The kitchen? That's the galley. And the bathroom? That's called the head. Weird name, but sailors have been calling it that for centuries. And finally, that thing you steer with? On small boats, it's usually a tiller, a handle you push or pull. On bigger ships, it's a wheel that controls the rudder, which is the flap in the water that actually turns the boat. If this helped, or you'd like to support educational content, please like, share, and subscribe for more.